When did you realize you're a horrible person? When it occurred to me that it can't be absolutely everybody else who's the problem. Growing up, I realized that some people are genuinely positive and nice. It's in their eyes, it's something you really can't fake. I never had that in me or my family, but I'm fighting every day to have it. Leaving my family is a start. I talk shit about people and complain way too much. Like, yes, maybe it wasn't my fault that my roommate or coworker or whoever else was being an ass, but that still doesn't mean everyone else in my life has to know about it. If it's me needing validation that I'm not the problem in whatever situation I was in, but it really doesn't make you feel better in the long run to tell everyone else how horrible someone else is. It just brings that negativity into other areas of your life and makes you miserable. I realized I'm not happy for people when good things happen to them. Because why should they be happy when I'm not? That's when. Just thinking about all the people I was needlessly mean to in my youth, whether as a kid, teen, or young adult. Even for the sake of a shitty joke, and going back thinking I should reach out to these people to apologize decades later, is probably just all too late, and would be just awkward to do, and that I left a lasting impression on these people that I was an asshole/bully. The 5 sentences message I could send on Facebook wouldn't be proper amends for the distress I caused each of them. So I feel the best thing to do is be as kind as I can to people as much as I can for the rest of my days. My ex told me she never realized how miserable she was with me. I looked at our relationship from her side and realized that I wasn't giving 100%. I judged her a lot. Only wanted to see when I wanted to stop taking her on dates, let myself go a bit, and blamed her for not making me feel attractive anymore. A lot of things that I'm working on fixing right now, not to win her back, but to just feel better about myself. Because everyone I try to get close to tends to flee. Sometimes you're the common denominator, my dude. I was told that I have to tell my other friends that don't know you, that you were a good guy. The nicest asshole you will ever know. I wore that shit like a badge of honor. I slowly just started to be an asshole. It came to a head at work, and I realized that this is not who I want to be. It has taken a while to break the habit of being who I was. When I realized I was struggling with empathy towards others. I feel towards animals or those I perceive to be the little guy, but an average person I struggled to empathize with. Also, it's hard to conversate with people about the mundane things. Like, it's really a struggle to hear people talk about their day. I realized how little others wanted to spend time with me, and went from there. I grew up in an abusive home with a narcissistic mother, so I suspected that I was taught some bad traits by then. I had a girlfriend in high school for the last 3 years of school. It ended in an ugly way, and it's 90% my fault. I've gotten over a lot of mistakes I've made when I was younger, but I don't think I'll ever forgive myself for wasting her time and being a dick. Around 2 or 1 year ago, while I was doing the dishes, I started thinking about some old relationships, and I discovered that I broke many hearts. I was sometimes indifferent, acted cruelly, and took advantage of some people's love for me. Note, I'm not proud. Discovering such a thing in yourself will not make you happy about yourself. I was deep in an LSD trip while drunk and spent 1,000 years going over how I got to this spot. I came out a different person and haven't touched any drugs/alcohol since. Got angry at women for no reason. I had consumed a lot of red pill content, and that affected my perception of them. It was pretty bad, but I'm doing better now. The last thing this world needs is hatred. I'm quick to write people off. Any ounce of them being questionable, gaslighting, or dishonesty, I'm out. No time for this. I feel like this is a shitty trait of mine. When I realized that I could easily ghost anyone in my life, I've moved and changed my number and completely started over a few times. Yes, I've kept in touch with most family members. For now. I did stuff my horrible dad did. Lots of self-awareness here. I'm actually pretty impressed. When my immediate response to my own inner thoughts became, this is why I'll be in purgatory. I can't keep friends for going on 40 years now. As long as I keep up a facade I created to appear kind and humble and sweet and naive, people want to be my friend. But when that facade starts to fall because it's impossible to keep it up forever, they discover I am actually negative, jealous, insecure, aloof, selfish, and mean-spirited. ETA, I guess technically I do have one longtime friend that comes and goes, but she's a bad person too. It's actually what bonded us. So I probably shouldn't be friends with her if I ever hope to improve. When I realized all the relationships I have in my life are conditional. I have no issue helping people, but only if they've done something for me or are consistently a nice person to me. When I realized that I focus so much on my own problems and tend to believe and the only one who suffers I get too involved, and when got mad at my sister for not following the right path. When I was in high school and I hurt one of my friends by talking behind her back. It wasn't an isolated incident, just the one I was confronted with. It made me realize I was no different than the people I thought were the problem. It made me want to change. When I got sober, when I was drinking, I always thought I was a fun, life-of-the-party type person. But really, I was a piece of shit. I cheated on all of my girlfriends, I flaked on all of my jobs, I stole mommy from my parents for booze/cigarettes/drugs, I fucked my best friend's sister, I neglected my dog. The list goes on. I truly was not a good person, and all of my friendships were just other barflies I would just drink with. When I got sober, I realized I had noon in my life and had to make some serious personality changes along with the sobriety. Every time I drive a car. Now that you're asking, I'm realizing that I'm not all that nice of a person. A couple years after high school, I realized I was a sad, edgy prick. Sure, I had a crappy childhood and was treated like shit, but it doesn't necessarily mean I need to treat others like how I was treated. While I no longer smoke marijuana anymore and barely consume it, I do think it really helped me mellow out and finally chill. When someone inconveniences me in the slightest way, my thoughts are drop dead, drive off a cliff, rolling on the floor laughing. After talking to my coworkers, realizing that I don't get a good feeling from helping people out, I asked a condescendingly worded question on a particular subreddit and got downvoted to hell. Made me realize I'm kind of an asshole. When I regretted having kids, I'm too selfish to be a good parent. When I got mad at my deceased husband for dying and leaving me here alone, I have since found out that these feelings are common. I was 16 working at a supermarket collecting carts when I saw a $50 bill on the ground. So I put it in my pocket. 30 minutes later, walking the store, I heard a lady on a payphone very upset talking to her husband about losing the money. I knew I should return it, but $50 was 3/4 of my weekly check, so I kept it and bought weed. This was 1997. I've done other horrible things, but most were over 20 years ago, and I've really worked on being an honest and decent person. It feels better. When I realized I was bullying people about the things I was insecure about myself. Perhaps when I thought, global warming wouldn't be such a problem if 7 billion people died. Maybe Thanos was onto something. November 22nd, 2021. I don't have a personality of my own. I shape myself according to what other person like, which I later realized is manipulation. I also don't have the same kind of mentality that my friends do. They help each other out. I sometimes do, but I feel bad and don't want to do it because most of the time I am saving for something. And to top it, people think I am nice, but I know I am not, and the kind of stuff I do, I ghost people and I just don't like to talk. And I have never been anyone's top priority or like one bestest friend, which made me realize I'm a bad person. After reassessing a former romantic relationship, I was raised in an abusive household. I thought love was abuse. I thought it was normal to yell at and belittle loved ones. So I did that to my boyfriend. I genuinely thought it was normal and didn't question it until after the relationship ended. In my next relationship with my now husband, I have done everything I can to end that cycle of abuse. It's still there in the back of my mind. Love is abuse, but I don't want to hurt my husband. I want to love him and support him and build him up instead of tearing him down. It's hard and I slip up, but we've had many conversations about it, and I always take responsibility and do what I need to fix things when that happens. He doesn't deserve what I was given. It's becoming my immediate reaction to quickly blame someone else for something I made a mistake on. I don't let this reaction come out as often as it sounds, but it'll be the first thing I will think of doing. Also, I take a while to reply to others when they're messaging me. Most of the time, I just don't like to have big conversation and would rather be left alone to scroll in peace. Uneasy face. I was on a plane flying across the country on a ski vacation. An hour into the 5-hour flight, the captain made an announcement requesting any doctors on board to notify a flight attendant because a passenger was having a medical emergency. My immediate thought was, fuck, we better not be making an emergency landing because I might miss the shuttle bus to Whistler. Fortunately, the passenger was okay. The flight continued as scheduled, and I made the shuttle bus on time. But I realized I'm a horrible person.